Welcome to Coffee Talk. I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace. And welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Coffee Talk Podcast Variety Show. And I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast Show. How y'all doing today? Welcome. It's been a long week. Now we're at the midweek. It's Wednesday, February 2nd, 2002. And this is our sports edition, man. And I'm happy to be here. Happy that you are joining us as well. So how's y'all doing today? How's the family? How's your friends? How's your associates? How's your village? May everybody be doing well in these times. And welcome. All right, so today we got a good show for you. Today we're going to be discussing former Miami Dolphins NFL head coach Brian Flores. He's in the news about a lawsuit that he has generating against the NFL, as well as the Miami Dolphins, Denver Broncos, and the New York Giants. So Brian Flores has filed a lawsuit with the NFL. We're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to just talk about the NFL in general. We're going to go ahead and give a couple breakdowns based off of this Brian Flores situation. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, before we get started with the show here at Coffee Talk, you know how we begin our show. We never start our show. Today's flavor and wise words is start your own league. Start your own league. That's today's flavor here at Coffee Talk. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Former Miami Dolphins head football Brian Flores was fired by the Dolphins last January. And even though his teams went a respectful 24-25 on the season, including a 9 wins, 8 loss mark in 2021 and a 10-win, 6 loss record in 2022, Coach Flores was terminated. It was a surprise to many that he was terminated because he was doing so well with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have not hosted a consecutive since 2003. So this gentleman being fired is like, hey, what's going on? He's showing so much improvement. Again, he went 9-8 this past 2021, and then he was 10-6 as of 2022. Now, most coaches in the NFL franchise after 3 years, then look, man, you get the boot just like anybody else, man. You know what I'm saying? However, a lot of people are disagreeing with this. We're definitely going to talk further about it. So Brian Flores was fired in January, but after being fired from the Miami Dolphins, he became a top coaching prospect throughout the league. He comes from the Brian Belichick expected, but he became a top coaching prospect throughout the league, and he had lined up an interview to coach the New York Giants. Well, what happened with that? Brian Flores comes out and he says that that he was forced with the New York Giants to go through a phony interview process with the New York Giants. That was part of what they call the Rooney Rule. Now, what is the Rooney Rule? The Rooney Rule states that every NFL team, there's 32 NFL teams, 32 owners, they have to at least interview 2 to 3 black coaches for every interview process. And that's for more like, you know, to give black coaches a chance to get into the NFL. You know, the NFL is predominantly black, but yet they only have one black coach as of right now, you know. So Brian Flores is stating that, you know, he had to go through a phony interview with the Giants. He said he has an incriminating text message as well from fellow coach Brian Belichick. Well, what we have here is this. Brian Belichick, coach of the NFL New England Patriots, he was attempting to send a text message to New York Giants coach who they have chosen or are looking to choose, Brian Daboll. So Brian Daboll is a guy that was also up for an interview for the New York Giants job, along with Brian Flores. Brian Belichick of New England Patriots was sending out a text message. He intended to go to Brian Daboll, but actually went to Brian Flores, stating that he was congratulating Brian Daboll for already having the job with the New York Giants. Now, this caught Brian Flores' attention because he still has yet to have his interview. You know, so it's like you already hired somebody, but yet you're going to give me a bum interview just to please rule. You know, and I do excuse the little ring. Oh yeah, so you know they already gave the job to Brian. Said he attended to Brian Daboll to Brian Flores. The text message has stated this. To have texted him to say, "Hey, Daboll, the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, I'm sorry, had gotten a job." And so Brian Flores is like, "Look, man, and I has decided, look, man, this is discrimination here." And the proof, give me one moment. The proof is in the text message. Okay. Now, the NFL since then have denied Flores' claims and said it would fight the suit. The NFL and other clubs are deeply committed, and this is the NFL talking, by the way. The NFL and other clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout our organizations, the league said in a statement. Diversity is core to everything we do, and there are few issues within these claims which are without merit. While coaching the Miami Dolphins, owner Stephen Ross, back in the 2019 season, went to Flores and said, "Hey, Flores, I need you to go ahead and throw games." And it's crazy that we're having this discussion because it's just this past week, I was having this discussion on how the games are fixed. And a couple brothers was trying to argue with me that, oh, it's not fixed. It's not fixed. But now all of this stuff is coming out in the media that the league is fixed, man. It's all. During the season, Miami owner Stephen Ross told Mr. Flores that he would pay him $100,000 for every loss. The general manager, Chris Greer, told Flores that Steve was mad that Flores' success in winning games was compromising the team's draft position. So the owner really wanted to go ahead and tank games just so that he can get, a top draft choice so he can increase his draft position. Now, if this is true as well, then, you know, we got a serious problem amongst us, you know. So we got to decide what's going to happen there as far as evolving the NFL. Now, here's my thoughts. So, and just back up and let's talk about the lawsuit before we go further. What Brian Flores is looking for as far as his lawsuit. And basically, Brian Flores is stating this. He's stating that, you know, the lawsuit that was filed with U.S. District Court in the District of New York asked for monetary damages and injunctive relief. So what is he asking for? Well, he's asking for this. That relief would come in form of the NFL and its teams, increasing the influence of Black people making hiring and firing decisions for top positions, creating a committee to increase ownership diversity, requiring teams to explain hiring and firing decisions in writing, creating a training program for Black assistant coaches who want to take a step up and become offensive defensive coordinators, making transparent the pay of general managers, head coaches, and coordinators, creating monetary, draft, or salary space incentives for hiring and retaining Black GMs and top coaches, involving more Black players and coaches in interviews for those positions, and requiring teams to show a side-by-side comparison of the criteria for the employment decisions when they get ready to hire a Black coach. You know, I'll say Black or brown coach, but what we won't say is minority, because we not no minorities. So what is your thoughts about what's going on with Brian Flores? Go ahead and let me know. Leave a comment. You know, NFL, you're getting shadier and shadier. You know, the good old boys gang of the 32 team ownership, you're getting shadier and shadier, you know. So this is what Brian Belichick has stated about his text, by the way, that he intended to send to Brian DeBoer. He says, sorry. He's talking to Flores now. He says, sorry, I double checked and misread the text. I think they are naming Brian DeBoer as head coach of the New York Giants. I'm sorry about that, BB. Belichick texts Flores, according to the lawsuit. The NFL denied Flores' claims and said it would fight the suit. Brian Flores, do you believe what Brian Flores is stating here as to what happened? Do you agree with what he's requesting as far as monetary damages and injunctive relief with the NFL for future players and coaches? You know, if you do, let us know. Don't let us know. Go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll definitely get right with you. But here's my thoughts. I remember when the NFL, you know, what it's been 52 Super Bowls now or whatnot. I remember when the NFL was a little bit more family friendly. It was a little bit more amateur, or at least that's what it felt like. Because we never know, man. We can go back to the beginning of the NFL, and, you know, they probably was throwing games and fixing games and stuff. A lot of cats still don't believe that, but yet it's still right there front and center in your face that they do rig games and treat people unfairly. But what happened to the NFL? You know, again, it used to be a family-friendly sport. You could take the family out. The price of tickets were low, where at least 4 people could go. Now the average of an NFL ticket for 4 people is like $300 to $400, depending on the stadium. It might even be higher. When I started to notice the changes of the NFL is when the NFL started to get more and more corporate. They started to take on more corporate sponsorship. One of those sponsors didn't really talk about the armed forces. Yes, everybody pays respect to the armed forces and the patriotism that it reflects. However, They didn't have that in the NFL, man. All you did when you came to the NFL in the late 80s, early 90s, they would do the national anthem. Then it'd be about football, beer, and cheering fans. You know what I'm talking about? But then they start to go ahead and bring in all these different corporates, and it's taken away from the game. It's overly corporated at this point. And it's a bias on top of that, because you're seeing liquor, you're seeing alleged stories of women being harassed, as well as domestic situations. And the NFL bats an eye to that. They don't really care about that, you know. But what I notice is they are always willing to attack the black athlete, who is the majority of the sport, you know. It's like when you watch NFL now, I remember in my youth, I used to love getting up, watching Terry and Howie and the NFL show right before the game. It would get you hyped up. And that's not to point anything bad about Terry or Howie or anything like their NFL Live or anything. But what I notice now with the ESPN Sports, platform, is that every episode that it comes on, it seems to be attacking a black or brown athlete. And then when they don't have a storyline, then they go to the next person that's up, and that is Stephen A. Smith's character. Now, I'm not talking anything personally on Stephen A. Smith, because I don't know the man. But his character is always going against the black or brown athletes. And, you know, there's a lot of cases that we can talk about, but we won't waste our time here on Coffee Talk with that. But I just wanted to point that out. They continue to further scrutinize the black athlete. And look at Colin Kaepernick's situation. You know, Colin Kaepernick was correct with what's going on. Today on Coffee Talk, I wanted to give my roses and tip my hat off to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, also used to be known as Chris Jackson before he received his Islamic name, his righteous name. But that's him in the background there. I love the photo. And you got to check out that story. You know, we did do a story on Mahmoud a while back in our earlier episodes. Definitely look for that. But I thought I would go ahead and give the God some attention there, you know, and reveal his presence. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and tip our hat and send our flowers to brothers like that have been continuously mistreated in the arena of sports. You know, Craig Hodges is another one, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Muhammad Ali, Colin Kaepernick. You know, all of these dudes fought for the inequalities that are within these leagues. You know, what's your thoughts on the NFL? You know, they did lose a lawsuit with Colin Kaepernick. Now, they didn't report how much money they were sued for, but you know, Colin Kaepernick has been whitelisted. We won't call it blacklisted. He has been whitelisted out of the league, you know, which he still should be able to play, man. He's a great athlete. He's still in shape. But once you sue your boss in this capitalist country, once you sue a corporation, they don't want to, and they don't have to rehire you. You know, maybe legislators should look into changing that. Because to me, I think that's a retaliation case. And a lot of different corporations state that they don't do retaliation. But yet I've seen people get fired from jobs for nothing. I know someone real close to me that had got fired from her job for taking up for a coworker, for defending a coworker when a coworker was being harassed by someone off the street. It's like corporations only use their employees like robots, man. You know, human robots. They want you to follow their policy and procedures, and then after that, if you misstep at any time, they want to get rid of you, and that's what they call an at-will state. An at-will state is where there's a law in place where corporations and companies can go ahead and fire you for whatever reason, you know. And I think that's wrong. I think it affects families, you know. What is your thoughts on it? Let me know. Share the like button, leave a comment, let me know. So now, because we're seeing what's going on with this injustice of our brother Brian Flores, we see this going on with Colin Kaepernick. We see this going on with other black coaches that are coming out and speaking about how they were treated. I want to talk to you about what a great player stated April 26th of 2014. And that I'm bringing this up because it resonates with the bullshit that's going on. This person, legendary, from the Charlotte Hornets, the New York Knicks, and the Nevada, Las Vegas running Rebels, UNLV. I'm speaking of power forward Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson made these quotes April 26, 2014. Larry Johnson, who played for the Charlotte Hornets and New York Knicks and worked for the Knicks at least until Phil Jackson's hiring, has thoughts on Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling was the owner of the LA Clippers before he was ousted by the NBA for his derogatory statements and for the mistreatment of black athletes. But Larry Johnson stated this. He said, I heard the Clippers owner made a racial statement and black people are all upset. Get over it. This is integration. Larry Johnson also said, he is the owner of the team. Personally, I think he should have whoever he wants at the game. Larry Johnson also stated, black people, you're focusing on the wrong thing. We should be focusing on our own team, own league, do for self. And that is Larry Johnson, again, saying that we are focusing on the wrong thing and we should be focusing on having our own team and our own league. That's Larry Johnson, Mr. Grandma Ma from the New York Knicks, Charlotte Hornets, be running Rebels. So what's your thoughts on what Larry Johnson said back in 2014? I'll tell you this, I'm sick of it, but I'm not surprised. No, I'm not surprised anytime any inequality or injustice comes from these leagues. Again, this is the good old boys leagues. These are good old boys billionaires. And they use black talent like it's black gold. This is a $40 million slave by William C. Roden, a former analyst and sports writer for ESPN. This has been going on for a long time, yo. You have 32 NFL teams, 32 owners, and only one black head coach. I don't know how many GMs they are. I didn't do the homework on that tonight, but I know the Minnesota Vikings just picked up a brother. We appreciate that. Ozzie Newsome used to be with the Cleveland Browns. If he is or if he's not, I'm not sure if he's still there anymore. But he was a GM, you know. But all we continue to be asking to where we can either A, own a team, or GM. NFL has always been a racist arena. There used to be a time when they would say that the black man can't be quarterback because he wasn't smart enough. He wasn't smart enough to lead men. But then with the help of great athletes such as I could go on and on. First black quarterback played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They started to break that barrier. It's changing. They're starting to get more black quarterbacks. And they can control you. That's where you will be. But they don't really want you to be the head coach. Just like many of these owners, they are intimidated by alpha males. They're intimidated by intelligent alpha males that know how to lead men. They don't want to see the black coach get the proper response. That's off to him. But look what he had to go through to break that barrier. I want to say Tony Dungy's the first, African American, we are not fully represented as we should be in any of the sports arenas, whether that be the NFL, the NBA, or the Major League Baseball. But they love using us and taking advantage of us and our black gold. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And before I go, I just want to say this. Thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk. Leave your comments. And I also want to say this, man. Thank you for coming into our humble home. May you pour yourself some coffee, some cappuccino, some tea, some wine, some water. Come on in, kick your feet up, relax, and enjoy the show. Thank you for coming out to Coffee Talk today. I'll see you later on this weekend. I'm going to hit you with the universal peace sign, and thank you for tuning in. I am your MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Culture Variety podcast.
Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Cultural Variety podcast. Stay tuned.